So this week, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas signed into law a couple things that's got the left really fuming. Anti-abortion legislation, as well as voting rules, SB 1 in Texas. You've also got some information about the jab, the required vaccine that Joe Biden has talked about. Got that and more on this episode of The Latino Conservative. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Alvarez. I'm the Latino Conservative. Thanks for joining me this week. As mentioned previously, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Texas. We've got some state legislation going out that Governor Greg Abbott has just signed into law, and already you've got the left fuming. Specifically, SB 1. Now, what SB 1 is, it's voting rules. That's right, voting legislation. The left does not want voting rules. They want to open up voting to everybody. So what the couple things that SB 1 does is it bans drive-through voting. It also gives out new regulation on the hours for early voting. Basically, it does away with the 24-hour voting. It also bans the distribution of unrequested mail-in ballots. It gives new ID requirements on those mail-in ballots. It gives a correction process for those who think that their ballots might be wrong or that they filled out incorrectly. It establishes poll watcher protection. That's one that I'm going to talk about a bit. It establishes a monthly citizenship check. And it gives out new rules for voter assistance. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of these topics. I'm not going to go into each one of these. I'm going to give my opinion on these. The first one I want to talk about, I don't agree with. That's right. I don't agree with something that a Republican did. Go sue me. But one thing I don't like is the privacy mandates that they give on the mail-in ballots, the security checks, whatever you want to call them. So what's happening there, you have to either give the last four of your social or your ID on both of the ballot and the outside of the envelope. Now understand, they want to do this to ensure what's in the envelope matches what's the actual envelope is. The problem I have with that, somebody could potentially see the last four of my social. They could see my driver's license number. Now, I know that there's not much that can happen with that. There's not much that somebody can do with that specifically, but I don't want anybody else to see it other than me and whoever I want to see, somebody else that I might have business with, for example. I don't want just some random person who sees my piece of mail going through a conveyor line to see that. That's my choice. I don't agree with that. I think that should be taken out. They should use some other form of verification. Signature verification has worked for a long time. I'm just saying. So another aspect of this that has people upset is the poll watchers, specifically the Democrats. So let me ask you this. Why would you not be okay with having poll watchers? Is there something you're hiding? It gives free access to poll watchers to move around the facility right away. The Latino organization called LULAC likened it to the KKK. I mean, come on. Really? Go do a quick YouTube search or go to duckduckgo.com to find the harassment that happened in 2020. You'll see it wasn't the Republicans that were blocking, that were threatening. It was all Democrats. It was the Democratic Party that was blocking Republican poll watchers from entering the facility, putting up obstructions on windows so they couldn't see. Now, I don't know about you, but the way I feel is if somebody's blocking me from viewing something, they don't want me to see it because something shiesty is happening. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. What do you think? I mean, can we kind of agree with this? I understand privacy stuff, whatever. But what about the thousands upon thousands of ballots that happened to show up after the polls closed? Y'all remember that? Maybe if we had some poll watchers there, we might have been able to catch that. And if we would have caught that, maybe there wouldn't be this big controversy. Was the election really won legitly? I don't know. At this point in time, I don't know. I have zero confidence in our election system. It also establishes a monthly citizenship check. So the Secretary of State is going to have to go out and do something physical. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they're going to have to check the voter registration rolls and make sure these people that are voting in Texas are still citizens of Texas. I mean, it just makes sense. Make sure someone that is voting in that jurisdiction is an actual resident of that jurisdiction to prevent any sort of jinky stuff happening. Make sure they actually have a vested interest in that. Taxpayers in that jurisdiction. But the left wants this whole bill taken out. They're saying it's oppressive. How is it oppressive? How? Poll watchers? Bipartisan poll watchers? If Republicans can have poll watchers out there, so can the Democrats. That's not oppressive. Eliminating 24-hour voting. Who is up at 3 a.m. in the morning voting? Who? How long does early voting last? You've got that entire time to go out and early vote. It's eliminating ballot boxes, because if you can go drive out to a ballot box to drop off your ballot, you can go to an actual polling location and cast your vote. Early voting, you could do that too when there's fewer people out there. It actually expands voting hours on Sundays. It actually secures our votes too, because it's making sure that Texans are voting for Texans. None of this stuff like I'm going to come move down to Florida just so I can vote in a Florida election and then move back up to New York, Andrew Yang. But that's what's happening. The left is pissed about it. I say if there's nothing for them to be afraid of, they should be okay with it, because nothing is oppressive. It might give a little bit of an inconvenience, just a little bit of an inconvenience, because it does reduce the 24-hour polling, because it does allow poll watchers. But there's been a meme posted several times by leftist Democrats. The bottom line of it says, do not confuse inconvenience with oppression. So I'm going to say, take your own advice. Do not confuse inconvenience with oppression. So another law that Governor Abbot also signed in to law was the heartbeat bill, basically stating that if a fetus's heartbeat can be detected, that abortion could not happen. Basically, the fetus's heartbeat can happen within 6 weeks. This one, I'm going to kind of play the line on this one. But my line is real defined. Straight line. I don't like anti-abortion legislation. I believe anti-abortion legislation is anti-conservative. It's anti-Republican. Conservative and Republican, small government. But I don't believe in abortion. I don't. I don't think there's a valid reason for someone to kill somebody. And that fetus is somebody. That fetus has rights. By you killing that fetus, you're taking away that fetus's rights, that person's right. So the meme that I've seen posted time and time again on this one is along the lines of, well, maybe men should start paying child support at 6 weeks old as well. Okay, let's pause right there. Let's time out. Let's take a look back at this. Well, one, if the man actually starts paying child support at, 6 weeks, that's almost 2 months out of 9 months, 7 months worth of child support out of 18 years. Okay, not a big deal, but let's look at the fairness of this. And let's look at the logic of this. If you are saying that the male is supposed to pay child support at 6 weeks, so that's assuming that y'all aren't together. If y'all aren't together after 6 weeks, what kind of encounter was that? Was it the male's full responsibility then? I mean, you were there too. By the way, before you start going into all of this extra, what about this case? What about this case? The whole rape, incest stuff. Yeah, I'm not even talking about that. That's a total different topic. This is consensual, one-on-one, 2 people, maybe 3, going at it. Depends. we've all seen Maury Povich too. That one person who went through like 9 or 10 baby daddy possibilities before she found the real one. Yeah. So which one do you tag? That brings me to my second point. How are you going to prove that that child that you are carrying belongs to that father? Can you do a paternity test while you're still pregnant? I mean, maybe. You might be able to do that paternity test while you're still pregnant. But that needle going into that baby will likely destroy it, especially at 6 weeks old. That needle to take that blood from the baby to get the DNA sample, it's going to destroy the baby at 6 weeks old. Oh, that could be your abortion right there. Another question. What financial responsibilities does a person have to a child that's 6 weeks old? How much money is the mother paying out of pocket? The unwed mother who is single, has no relationship with the child's father, biological father. What financial responsibility is she incurring to that 6-week-old child? None, right? She's incurring financial responsibilities to herself in the form of doctor's appointments, prenatal care, and such. I could see where the possibility would be there for the father to take part in that. However, for the most part, excluding those other aforementioned cases, rape, incest, whatever, all of those, the mother willingly partook of that sexual activity that caused the reproduction. So, is a father supposed to pay for that? Maybe a small portion. But it's not 25% of his check, that's for sure. Or 21 for one child, I should say. One child's in Texas, child support is 21%. Now, if we do away with this legislation, let's get a little theoretical here. We do away with this legislation. A mother can terminate the financial responsibility of that child in the future. That financial responsibility includes school clothes, food, diapers, milk, cars, quinceañeras. Anyone who's a parent knows you're going to spend a lot of money on that child. A mother can terminate that like that. Just do away with it if abortion is legal. That same mother can go to a different state outside of Texas or even go to Mexico and get that abortion done. They can still get it done legally, just not in Texas. So if a mother can do that, what about the fathers? Can the father go out and legally terminate their financial responsibility? I mean, they kind of can. Some just don't pay child support, which I have no idea how that happens. And I'm going to put a little snippet in here. I would not dream of not paying my child support. I won't. My children's mother, she does a great job of making sure my kids are okay. I have a great relationship with my kids. And I would not want to change that at all. I would not pay child support. I have no choice. When I start a new job, they find me. They take it out of my check each and every week, no matter what. So I'm trying to figure out how some of these guys do it. How they go out and not pay child support, unless they're working illegally. But there is no real avenue for a father to just say, hey, I don't want to be the baby daddy. I don't want nothing to do with this. I didn't ask for this. There's no real opportunity for the guy to do that. He could sign over his rights in an adoption. That's one way. But for there to be an adoption, there also has to be a different guy, a different man to step up and to say, I'm going to take this child as my own and absolve this other person of all rights, all financial responsibilities. Done. But that's a long, arduous process. I know people who've gone through there. Great people. I also gave them a pig one time too. Either way, You can't just say, I don't want to be the daddy anymore and give up your rights. That's not how it works. Even if the mom agrees with that, it's still more than just let me sign over the rights. Because even if you do sign over your rights, you're still financially responsible, at least in Texas. I don't know about any other state because I don't live in the other states, but in Texas, I wonder how much kickback I'm gonna get on that. Because I think, I really and truly believe that if the mother can absolve her financial responsibility without any consent, so can the father. Equal rights, right? Okay, so let's talk about this jab. By the jab, I mean the vaccine. This week, Joe Biden made a mandate, or in his lecture, long drawn out statement that he gave, his intelligently written and eloquently spoken statement. He basically said that all federal workers and contractors are going to be required to have the vaccine. He said that companies who employ over 100 employees are going to be required to make their employees get the vaccine. Teachers, educators, healthcare workers, they're going to be mandatory for them to get the vaccine. Anyone read the Bible lately? You know, there's this whole thing called the mark of the beast. And I am not saying that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. I'm not. But I made it in a Facebook post on my personal page that it is looking like the mark of the beast. And here's why. Some things that the mark of the beast have to have are, one, it has to be required or you die. Nobody's going to have their head chopped off. It's going to have to be required to make any sort of transaction. Buy food, buy drinks, whatever. You cannot buy or sell without this mark of the beast. And it has to be an actual mark, like a scratching or a tattoo or something to that extent. Could be a scar, something like that. The COVID vaccine doesn't meet any of those. Oh, and it has to be either in the right hand, this is my right hand, or in the forehead. When I got my vaccine, I intentionally put it in my left arm. Just because, I make sure all my I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But I digress. But either way, the mandates though. Last I checked, we live in America and we still have options and freedoms. People will say, well, shots are required for school. Yeah, but there's also parents out there that file that exemption. If you go to work for one of these places that has over 100 employees, apparently you're going to have the vaccine. Do you have to have the polio, measles, mumps, rubella to get a job? No. Why even get the vaccine though? Why? It doesn't work. Proof that it doesn't work. Greg Abbott. He's vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. He got the virus. Reverend Jesse Jackson got the virus. He's fully vaccinated. And, since he's on the left side, he's always wearing a mask. He's always doing all of that stuff. Him and his wife were hospitalized. So again, I say, it doesn't work. It might keep people from getting sick a little bit. But at the same time, if it keeps you from getting sick, if you already had an immune system that was pretty dang good, you might not know you have COVID. And you might be going out, about, frolicking, going to the mall if you're younger, going out to an Astros game or something. You might be going to do all of that socializing and not know you have the virus and spread it. All of a sudden now, you're a super spreader because you did what everybody told you to do and get the vaccine. So, I say again, it doesn't work. It's making things worse. And Joe Biden is forcing it to go worse. It's forcing it. This is the same president that when he was a candidate for president said that he wasn't going to take the vaccine because Donald Trump saw it through. The same vaccine that was approved by the FDA, who was also working with the NIH, whose leader, or one of their leaders, is Anthony Fauci's wife, who also we just found out he lied to Congress on the funding of the Wuhan virus in their gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. And I know I'm being a little dramatic, but oh well. It's my opinion. It's my show, right? You're watching it. Thank you for watching, by the way. I appreciate that. Still trying to get more viewers. I got a few more subscribers. Thank you. But so where we go from there at the rate it's going, really, truly, I don't know. The presidential elections are still way off. The best thing I think you can do, support your local governments, support your state governments. We've got some state elections coming up pretty soon. Support those. Work for those. Local elections happen pretty much every year. Support those. Work for those. See, the thing is, us conservatives, we don't do a lot of the work. That's why we're in the state that we're in right now. We are in the state that we are in right now because we react. The Democratic Party is great at activating people. They're great at getting people going. They're great at working their emotions and getting them emotionally involved, invested to get their agendas out there. They're great at that. Some of the best companies in the world are Democratic-run companies. Disney, very left. Practically everywhere in Hollywood, left. The music industry, very left. And what the saying is, among celebrities, go woke or go broke. These top paying, top financially producing companies, NFL, NBA, are great at getting everybody emotionally motivated. So what we conservatives and Republicans are going to have to do is work extra hard because they've already got that. They've already got that foot in the door. In fact, they've got their whole body inside the entire house, not just the foot in the door. We've got to get ourselves motivated. We've got to get ourselves involved. We've got to get proactive, not reactive, proactive. And the way you do that, starting off, is to support your local elections. In Texas, we've got an election happening November 2nd, coming up right around the corner. Who are your local candidates? What are the local bonds that are being passed? Work for those. Find out what they are. If you need help finding out what they are, email me, Andrew, at thelatinoconservative.com. I will reply, ask for your location. I'm not going to ask for anything else private, but your zip code primarily, just so I can see what elections are happening in your area that you could contribute to either financially or with time. Heck, even a couple Facebook posts. You never know which one could go viral. Hey guys, thanks again for letting me rant and rave at you this week. It's been a long week. I like to do these on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's now Friday. That's how long it's been. But like I said, go out there. Be proactive. Don't just be reactive like the Republican Party and the the Republican Party and conservatives are great at being reactive. Be proactive. Get something done. Make your voice heard. Also, if you like the content on here, like, subscribe, whatever your social media platform that you're watching this says to do, whether it's like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. That comment will help me tremendously with the algorithm to get this word out there. Again, guys, thank you for listening. My name is Andrew Alvarez. I'm the Latino Conservative. And remember, always be a voice.